Welcome to Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. I'm your host, Lady D Denise Gomez Green, inviting you to join me each week for real conversations, powerful stories, and uplifting perspectives that shine a light on voices from the community and the diaspora. Kick off your week with the Monday Drive from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Dive deep on Thursdays with Center Stage from 6 to 8 p.m. And ease into your weekend with Saturday Morning Runnings every Saturday at 10 a.m. Catch Voices with Lady D on YouTube, Caribbean Vibes Radio Network online and YouTube, and Fit FM 96.7 in Stuart Castle, Trelawney, Jamaica, or tune in on Linkage Radio online. So lock in, turn it up, and remember, every voice has power. This is Voices with Lady D. Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Saturday Morning Runnings. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women: Sherns, Max, Jackie, and yours truly, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of the roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. it's Saturday Morning Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Saturday Morning Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive. Hey Trelawney, it's Lady D, reaching you straight from New York with love. Catch me every week on Fit FM 96.7 in Stuart Castle, Duncan's, Trelawney, Jamaica. It's Voices with the Lady D on Linkage Radio, streaming live on YouTube. Join me Monday for the Monday Drive from 5 to 7 p.m. and Friday for Center Stage from 5 to 7 p.m. And me just want to know who under the mango tree with them iPhone, iPad, and transistor radio, because trust me, you can't afford to miss the show. Music, vibes, and real talk every time. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. Stay locked in. Trelawney, me love you no bad.
Patrick Tyson from the Gospel Showcase Radio NYC presents his 35-year anniversary radio gospel concert on Saturday, August 15th, 2026. Featuring Pastor Golda McFarlane, Brother Paul Marlon Anderson, Sister Tanique Granston, Shakira Williams, Minister Barrington Reed, and Minister Gart Wilson outside of Maryland. To be held at the Bronxwood International Church of God, located at 3232 Lurton Avenue in the Bronx. Live music by Pete and Drummer Squad. Tickets are pre-sold at $35, $40 out the door. Children under 12, $25. Your MCs for the evening will be yours truly, Minister Patrick Tyson and Lady D. Doors open at 5 p.m. showtime, 6 p.m. sharp. This event is made possible and sponsored by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, Bronxwood International Church of God, TOG Radio, Unity with Love Radio, Favor Zone Radio, CJ Gospel Radio, and Future FM Radio. For tickets and more information, you can contact Minister Tyson at 347-961-6785 or Sister Lamille Hunt at 646-702-8140. Once again, that's 646-702-8140. And ladies and gentlemen, please come out and celebrate with me as I celebrate 35 years of radio ministry in the New York area. You can't afford to miss it. Saturday, August 15th will come alive. I'll see you there.
Ghana, vibrant, full of promise. But for many teens, opportunity is still out of reach. Thousands walk miles just to attend school, and when the journey is too far, education stops. That's why Eagles Wing Community Outreach, in collaboration with Central Yonkers Church of God, is building the Agape Vocational Training Center, bringing education closer and opening doors for over 100,000 young people. Led by Bishop and Reverend Dr. Stevenson, this mission is about changing lives for generations, and you can be a part of it. Join us for the third annual Ghana Missions Boat Ride fundraiser on June 7th at 5:30 p.m. aboard the Skyline Princess, sailing from World's Fair Marina, Flushing, New York. Come dressed in your finest African attire. Enjoy music by Jabez and DJ Apache. Tickets are $150. Call 914-620-5070 or scan the QR code to purchase. Be the reason a child rises. Help build the Agape Vocational Training Center.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
I'm saying good morning, Maxie. Good morning, King. I hear nothing.
How did you?
I'm hearing you. Say good morning, darling. Are you hearing me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Testing, receive 2, 3, 4.
Same song.
King, you sound like my father. When my father called, he said, testing. Then after we finish chatting, he'll say over and out.
Of course.
Well, here we are again, happy as can be. A very pleasant good morning to everyone. It is Saturday, No, it is Saturday, and the show is called Saturday Morning Runnings here on your platform. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. It's my pleasure to have you here this morning. It's my pleasure to have you, Max. It's my pleasure to have King. Jax will be joining us in a few minutes. Or Ambassador Sherns, regrettably, she will not be joining us today unless she sneaks away to come join us. But, she does have something going on today. When I tell you busy is all around, all of us here are busy people, and yet find the time to join you each and every Saturday morning. So welcome once again to Saturday Morning Runnings, where culture meets conversation. I'd like to hop on over to our YouTube chat and to welcome our co-producer who came in. Apparently he couldn't wait. He just popped in right away. Co-producer, I'd like to say thank you for being who you are. Welcome to the show. And I see my niecey, Minty, is here. So good morning, Minty, my love. And she says, blessed good morning. And I see co-producer dying with laughter. Not sure. So King,
yes,
Maxie stepped away. How do you do on this Saturday morning here?
It's another grateful day, Just me sun shine out a door and little overcast. I can see Lower Manhattan from here with a little bit of cloud, but everything looks good.
Okay, wonderful.
We're still alive.
That's right. And Max, how do you do?
Well, I'm feeling bubbly and beautiful this morning. It's cloudy on the outside. I'd rather sunshine because I'm a sunshine girl, but nevertheless, it's not cold. We're in the 70s today, and I'm loving it just the same. I'm feeling blessed and highly favored. Good morning to every listener and every viewer.
Amen. And I, too, would like to say good morning to Lady D. How are you, Lady D? I'm fine. I'm fine. And how was your week? It was okay. I had a good week and something positive happened during the week, and I'm giving thanks for that. So welcome to all of you, or we say welcome to all of Uno people who are here with us this morning. I do apologize. I'm moving around my screen so that we can get the show going. This morning's topic is the woman behind my story, the woman behind your story. And seeing that we have to be, showcasing what's going to be happening today, I think that we should. I do apologize. I'm just moving around to make it look fancy. But I'd like to introduce the segment formally. So stick and stay with us. It is now 13 minutes after 10 o'clock. We welcome you to Saturday Morning Runnings.
What if I told you the most powerful part of your story isn't you, but the woman who loved you before you understood love? This Saturday on Saturday Morning Runnings, where culture meets conversation, Voices with the Lady D presents a special Mother's Day feature, The Woman Behind the Story. Because behind every life, every triumph, every scar, every comeback, there is a woman whose love, sacrifices, and quiet strength shaped the person you became. Some mothers got it right. Some stumbled along the way. Some weren't our mothers by birth, but they stepped in with a love that held us together. Whether she was your mom, your granny, your auntie, your grandmother, or that one woman who saw greatness in you before you saw it in yourself, this conversation honors her. We're celebrating her resilience. We're acknowledging her imperfections. We're lifting up her legacy. And we're giving thanks for the love that helped write our story. This Saturday, May 9 at 10 a.m. Don't miss it. And while you're here, like, share, and subscribe to Voices with Lady D so you never miss a moment that speaks to your heart.
Well, I'd like to welcome you back to the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Send the link to someone. Tell them we're on with Dea. The show has started, and we would love to see you coming in bursting speed, no matter where you are viewing us from this morning. And I hope everybody is sharing the link with someone, your coworker, your friend, your family. We want to, hear from you. We want to see you here with us this morning. And no matter what, when you think of mom, whatever the emotion that hits you first, that's where you should settle so you can share. Because I know when some people saw this promo today, they were like, oh Lord, I wonder. But you know what? We're not dismayed this morning, because we're going to talk about the things that impacted us and, formed us into who we are. The woman behind my story. We had a show this past Thursday on Center Stage. And there were several people who shared about their mom. One woman cried just thinking about her mother and who her mother was to her. In fact, she chuckled because she said that, her mother left the crying to her, because she's an emotional person. She thinks of something that, will impact her a lot. And tears come to her eyes. But some people may have been waiting for this episode. Maybe not. Maybe you watched the promo and you lost a little sleep over it, because today's show is not just another episode. Today is more of a love letter. And it may require a standing ovation too. Today is a bow at the altar for the woman who built us, whatever that impact was, because we're celebrating Mother's Day, and we're celebrating it in all areas. The moment when we had tears, the moment when we laughed till we belly bust. I'd like to welcome every single person who are tuning in this morning. Welcome to mothers who are here. whether you're holding your own babies right now or your babies are all grown up and giving you grandchildren. We want to welcome the grandmothers, the queens of the kitchen, the keepers of the stories, the ones who knew everything before Google existed.
Tell me about
Welcome,
it.
yeah, welcome to the aunties. Oh, don't think we forgot about you, aunties, the aunties who were there, who kept the secrets, who braided the hair, who slipped you the extra money when mama wasn't looking. So we welcome the grandmothers, the foster mothers. Welcome to the big sisters who stepped up. There are a lot of adult women today who will tell you that they were the first girl and they had to help their mom or their mom left them early and the sisters had to step in. Because in our culture, the whole village raised us. Every woman on the block had a say, whether they were soft or hard. And we're here for all of it today. Some people's voices keep resonating in our minds or it blaring in our ears. We heard them. And for those of you who are missing your mother today, whose mother has gone on to glory, whose mother figure is no longer here, we want you to know that we made space for you too. You're not outside of this celebration. You are the center, or rather, you're at the center of it, because grief and gratitude can live in the same house. And today, we're welcoming both through the front door. So now, we need you to lean in. We need you to sit down wherever you are, or if you're moving around, you have your earbuds in, your TV on, your cell phone opened, or you're in a car and you're tuned in via your Bluetooth. You're in your kitchen, you're at your desk working today, and you need to really hear this. And there is a tag in here. Because what if we told you the most powerful part of your story isn't you, but the woman who loved you before you even understood what love was? So let's start the conversation this morning. I invite each and every one to tune in and to drop your comments in the chat this morning. I am well, co-producer. So let's just acknowledge once again. Co-producer popped in. He says, morning. It's Saturday morning runnings. And my girl Minty's here. I am well, sir. I am well. My girl Marie, blessed Saturday morning to the team. Morning. She says, Alvarissa Parchment, you're my forever queen. Blessed first heavenly Mother's Day. Your children, all 8 of us, appreciate that you were our rock. That's her mom she's talking about. And Evel says, I miss my mama. Mm-hmm. So yes, thank you for your comments. So, Mother's Day. The woman behind my story. Maxie, I'll kick it off with you. Who was the woman behind your story, Max?
Okay, so my birth mother is Eunice. But the woman behind my story, I mean, all of my stories from the day I was born, I guess, until I got married and left home, is none other than Mabel McCormack, aka Miss May, Aunt May, Miss Maynell. I mean, she gained all those names. Those were affectionate names that she was referred to in my district of Coffee Peace, Clonmel, St. Mary. Yes, there are a lot of stories about her, but there's a quick little story I want to give. This is a joke that she told us as kids, as grandkids, rather. Her husband was Samuel McCormack, and sometimes they would argue. And she said one day they were arguing, and he looked at her and said, "Me name Samuel." And she looked at him and said, "I'm me name made hell, and you know more hell more than me." Yes, she was a feisty little woman. And I thought that was just funny. But she was very, very resourceful, very domesticated. She couldn't read, but she was very smart. She was very business oriented. She was a midwife. She delivered babies. That's what I said. She couldn't read, but she delivered babies in the district, including my siblings from my mother. She was a district doctor and advisor. Everyone in the district would send to her for remedies. What do I need for this? What should I use for that? She was like a little shop. Everybody knew they could get something to borrow from Miss May. A pound of sugar, a piece of saltfish, one stalk of scallion, one tomato, a little cooking oil. I mean, that was how she added. She wasn't rich either, but she was very resourceful. She would have stuff and people would come and borrow or beg in some cases. Her spirituality, guys, was up top. I mean, up top. She prayed for everything and about everything. And I find myself emulating her in that manner too. I prayed about everything. I pray about everything and for everything. No matter how simple, I have to breathe a word of prayer about that. Whenever she was in need of anything, if she desired something or wished for something and she received it, she would say, I made this. I never forget those expressions. Yes, if she gets something, she would say, I made this. Like, for example, when her kids sent money from her from abroad, they would send money in letter, checks, whatever, or cash in some cases from England or Canada. And she said, I made it. She was very, very grateful for the things she received. She was also very disciplined. She was a disciplinarian. Yes, I'm telling you, I got licked for every and anything. And believe it or not, I never regret. Looking back, I have not regretted one thing. She taught me how to pray, iron, cook, make fashion. Yes, like the curry cocoa and the curry cabbage. I also, she was also a seamstress. She was, as I said, she was jack of all trade. I have a poem that I could have read this month, but it's too lengthy, so I decided to just break it down in my own words in this manner. She was also a seamstress. She made underwear for older men in the district. Underwear from flour bag. She would get the flour bag bleach, and I'm talking about it for free. She would get the flour bag from the shopkeeper in the district, and she would bleach these out, sew them, wash them, and press them and deliver them. Quarter dozen to one particular man named Uncle Joe. I was only a kid, guys, but those are things I look back and I'm like, this was a real woman, a real person, a real woman with real love. I was never hugged or told I love you, but what the thing she did to me or did for me demonstrated that.
Okay.
Even though I like to be touched and I like to be hugged, but the thing she did demonstrated the love. And even after I got married, I remember one day we were in the car, Norman and her and I were driving from St. Mary to Kingston. And she said, oh, my neighbor, I have nothing to give you. And Norman answered and said, no, Mom, it's okay. She married now. She was just she just thought that she had to give all the time. She was just so living and so giving. And of course, I'll break here because I have a poem I'd like to read about her in my book that I wrote. So I read it a little later on in the show. But, that's a mouthful.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maxie. Welcome. You're just tuning in. It is Saturday morning runnings right here on Voices with Lady D. And on Saturday morning runnings, of course, where culture meets conversation. We're always talking about, we go back to our roots a lot. And today, being Mother's Day, we thought we should discuss the woman behind my story, the woman behind your story. And Max just gave us a sneak peek into the woman behind her story. Now, there's a very good friend of ours. His name is King. Ryan Wallace is his name. But Ryan has been a great supporter of our platform, and he's a good friend. And so I would also like him to give a short sneak peek into the woman behind his story. So Ryan, go right ahead.
Okay.
Welcome once again.
Well, first thing, I have to be grateful for all women, because I tell people all the while, when you look out there and all the marvelous things that eyes can behold, it spring out a woman, because it's two things woman does: woman birth and woman give birth. was what the woman behind my story mean what I said is my Hethlin Millington, my grandmother, then my Jennifer Scott, my dear cousin, dead and gone, God rest her soul. I never forget one thing my cousin tell me before sending me off to my father, that you're not going to stay here and turn worthless. And every day I think to myself, what if she never does that? What if? Because yes, I have a mother. Yes, I love my mother, but we don't have that relationship. And as me and my siblings always said, if my mother passed on tomorrow, I wouldn't feel it like that, because we never have that bonding. Say this to say that the two people that I know as women, that my starting this life and my whole upbringing was my grandmother and my cousin. When I becomes to my norms as a kid, I never know my mother. Never know them. Never seen her. Never nothing. And for somewhat, I never missed her, because my cousin never left me. And when I becomes a young teenager, she always said, "Boy, me could have be your mother." But I never understand why she says that until I realize that her first son, I'm just 1 year older than her first son. And so it goes back. I thanks for women, because if I sit here, I can take the entire day and tell you all of my major success and movements in life is out of women. And that's why I can tell people that women not only birth, but they give birth. When a woman look at you and tell you something that you need to do, and tell you what you can do, and tell you what you must do, they just don't. People may just see it as a woman saying something to you, but women have something when they said it to you as a man. It's like it something new comes into you when they said it to you. It keeps ringing in your ears. One of my favorite one was when a friend of mine look at me and tell me, "How you say you going to engineer? That look good in this. I think you look good in the hotel industry." And I said, "Hotel?" And she said, "Yes, Ryan, hotel." I never forget that day. And all of my major successes, just women keep moving me along the assembly line as I go along in this life. And when I look back, it's all women. And that's why I can tell anybody that women just don't have children. They create children. And they will create a child out of anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. That's why I can tell a person that women not only birth, but they give birth also. So that's my 2 cents for women.
Your purpose. Wonderful.
Never have a world without them.
Yes. A very special morning to my Jax. How are you today, Jax? Good morning to you.
Good morning. How do you do?
We're well. It's so
Good
nice
morning
to
to
you.
all.
Good morning, Jackie.
Yeah, it's so nice
Good
to
morning, Jackie.
Good morning. I apologize for my tardiness, but I had to gradually wake up from my slumber.
Yes. All right. No mind. We're glad you come. You have slumbered in. Welcome.
Is that another designer top there?
Yeah,
Actually,
it's pretty. I'm looking at it.
Yeah. There you go.
yes.
You know what? She's good on the designing of the emergency tops.
Oh, yes.
All right. We'll take you, Jackson, whatever you design today.
Yes.
Is that a piece of Chanel?
On Chanel pants foot.
Okay.
So Jax, I hope you had a good week.
Oh my God, I had a week.
Had a week. Yes, and we'll just take that. You had a week.
Yeah.
You had a week.
For
I
that.
had a week.
Yeah.
Oh
We are
my
discussing
goodness.
the topic this morning, the woman behind my story. So the woman behind your story, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. And it could be mom, it could be other people who along the way who, help to push you along. And so Max and Ryan shared their bit a while ago. And so that now that you've rolled in, we'd like you to share about the woman behind your story.
Well, I've always said my son wants to join me this morning
That would be nice.
for maybe 10 minutes. Fix it here now.
Yes. Oh dear.
I can't see you. You have to come here.
Oh, very good.
Pick that up, Christoph. The topic this morning, Christoph, is the woman behind my story. It's a Mother's Day show.
So Mom is around, Jack?
Yes, she's downstairs.
Oh, will she be able to join?
I don't know. You want to check? Grandma.
Also, she about woman.
All right, so I can start. Well, Christoph,
Yes.
about mom and all of that. All right,
Oh.
so I do get inspiration from other women or take advice from other wise women, because I am very funny. I'm very picky about who I take advice from, and and instructions from. But I always tell people the woman behind my story has to be my mother. That's my mother. The strength and the resilience that she has, and the things that I grew up seeing my mother do. She if she was to be recognized, she would be the first to do such and such, the first to do this or that, and that's a big inspiration for me. So that the woman behind my story is my mother.
Okay.
Oh, Grandma said she'll join from where she is, which is downstairs.
Oh,
We don't have enough space here anyway. So this is my son. This is Christoph.
Hey, Christoph, how's it been?
Hey guys. How's
Good
it
to
going?
see you. Good.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to you
Hi,
guys.
Christoph. How are you?
Yes.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning, Jack is only and only man.
My one seed.
No, it's not one. It's two the last time.
You are him? How we go?
It's okay, Jackie, continue. Because you can't handle that.
Okay. Yes, Christoph. So good to see you. So the topic, the woman behind my story. What would you like to share about the woman behind your story for mothers?
What more should I share that she already wouldn't have shared? She's the woman behind my story. I literally wouldn't exist without her.
Right. And
Everything that's come and everything that is to be is always based off of my mom. It always will be.
Even when we butt heads.
I love my mom. So she's
Yeah.
always been there, will continue to be there. And, when there isn't any other support, it's always going to be from the love of a mother. So for me, woman behind my story is my mom.
Is your mom.
I would say my teachers, but I don't love my teachers as much as I love my mom. So.
Yeah.
Well, Christoph and I had a discussion, yesterday. It was like things that have affected him from he was a young kid, and some of it I didn't know, or maybe was just too taken up with other things to realize that there were certain things that affected him. Some things are obvious, between he and I and his father. And I recognize that some of it I suppress. And the thing about it is I've always encouraged him to come to me and tell me anything that he wanted to from he was a child. But there were still things that he didn't tell me or still didn't express to me that was affecting him or has, shaped his thoughts about motherhood, fatherhood, parenting on a whole. And yesterday, we had a discussion. It was expressing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to listen. And for us to say that this person is the woman or the strength behind your story, you also have to be a good listener as that person. And I can say that my mother is that person because she has 7 boys and 4 girls in the house, plus other children that she raised in the house, the same household, eating out of the same pot. And in the same breath, at the same time, she was like feeding the neighborhood kids too. And my mother is not a rich person, or was never a rich person. But, that added to the richness of who she is. And I emulate that. And because of that, she is the real woman behind my story.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, for those of you who are watching and you'd like to share who the woman is behind your story, please drop it in the comment section. We welcome your comments this morning. I am looking at Lovey. Lovey, are you on the job? I'm thinking she's on the job. Here, Everly's saying, go, Max. Okay. Maxie seemed to have stepped away, so she'll be back. Good morning, Paula. Paula, who was the woman behind your story? You can drop it in the chat as well. Also, King, you're getting big up from CEO.
Where is CEO?
CEO is at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so Green, thank you for fixing the error on my name. Thank you. It was about to drive me nuts. I can't lie. The amount of people who mess up my name is abysmal, man.
Okay. So he's saying good morning, Saturday morning runnings, hostesses and guest hosts, and all the wonderful listeners and viewers. Thank you, sir. Good morning. So for me, the woman behind my story is Ruby Mae Sons Thomas, my grandmother.
Yes, I know that.
Now, my mother, I shared a snippet about my mom that, I appreciated her. The bond of loving would have been up to about age 4 or 5, because, things got very difficult. Her marriage failed, leaving her with 2 girls, and she couldn't manage much. So we eventually went to live in Penance after she tried, to, navigate her way with 2 young children and not knowing what to do, how to do, and so on. But when we went to Penance, the doors were opened to Denise and Sophia, age 4 and 7. And I met my family for the first time, my father's side of the family for the first time. They welcomed us. They didn't know about us at all. And they just loved us and loved us until we became adults and still loving us, being on our own and, doing our own thing. I learned the value of prayer from my grandmother, who was a Christian woman. And I learned the value of family and understanding that the personalities in a family is what makes it so unique. I learned the principle of being ourselves as children, and how to have faith. If there's anything else I learned from my grandmother, is the power of believing that God is going to do something for you. She never beat. She left that to her children. So she was over that because she did that with them when they were younger. But I learned the power of prayer and faith. And I'll share something here. Um, when my father, after the marriage between my parents failed and my father traveled overseas, he worked on a cruise ship. And for years, we hadn't heard from him as I grew up in penance and going to school and everything. Every day, my grandmother would pray for people in our community. She prayed for people and she prayed loud so everybody could hear when Miss Ruby praying as they're passing the gate. Mama is calling names and she's praying for people. And every day she would pray for my father. She didn't see him. We didn't hear from him. We wondered what happened to him. She would pray for him every day. And she passed away in 1990. And would you believe that in 1992, yeah, about 92, 94 or 95, somewhere there. I got a letter. No, it would have been 92. I got a letter one day. My Auntie Joy, who passed away recently, Auntie Joy sent a letter and said, so she sent the letter and I opened it and I realized it. My father wrote the letter and my father showed up. And I learned then, and I went to see him. And I learned something, that you may be praying for something or someone or a situation, and it seemed like it's not going to happen, not happen. But because in God's timing, it's different. Her prayer came to pass after she died.
Oh, yes.
Her prayer came to pass after she died. And today, my father and I and my sister, we have rebuilt our relationship, and I've gone to see him many times and so on. So I give all the blessing to the spirit of Ruby May Sons Thomas, my grandmother, who prayed, who was just so smart and loved. She would scold you in 1 minute, dress you down good and proper, and in the next minute she would love upon you, and you just had to fall in line. So we learn not to hold grudges as well. So that's the woman behind my story. I tell people one of these days I'm going to have an interview. But yes, so who is the woman behind your story? And when we think about people who are still struggling with the challenges they have, or you are in a good place with your parent, your mom, and we give thanks for that big time, because not many people find themselves in that place. There are a lot of people today who they hold on to the thing that had hurt them so much that they can't see anything positive.
Yeah, they can't move along.
They can't move on. But we're reminding you this morning that no matter what, the spirit of forgiveness releases you first before anything or anybody else. You have to be released before to be able to fly again. So, when we have our parents, and yes, we will do things that hurt them, and we cause them to pull here, literally pull them here out of them head. We still have to remember. On Thursday, I recall when I opened this show, I said, when a mother gives birth to a child, she looks at that child, her heart wants to burst, and the love just a flow and all of that. And as the child starts to grow and she is also changing with this child and the transitional phases that it comes with, it is not easy. And as they take on their own, we are taking on our own personalities, and she have to adjust to it. It is something that we are expecting our mothers to be there no matter what, not realizing that at times they want somebody to be there for them too.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be there for
That's
them
natural.
too. And when there's no one there for them, the struggle becomes more real.
Okay, so
Pardon me. But you touched upon a really, really great point. I think I believe it's like that for all adults who are parents. Sometimes, if I could speak on a child's perspective, or at least within a newer generation's perspective, for what we see, is that, you know, a lot of the older adults never had that shoulder to cry on. But when they have their kids happen to be, you know, the kids happen to have a shoulder to cry on except for them. And I had a discussion with my mom about this, and I told her, it's like, Mom, at any point in time, the same way that, you know, you would hear me out, like how she said, my mom genuinely hearing my side of things and just wanting to listen. You know, sometimes we don't need a response. We don't necessarily, you know, want a response. Sometimes you want somebody there just to hear the energy that you're giving off, you know, just to hear the responses. It's not always about responding back to it. It is just about listening. And I believe that more youthful kids understand that a lot without having it to be stated. You know, as long as they're there, they're going to listen. And as long as people of my generation are there, you know, believe it or not, even if they can make a statement, oh, we don't care.
So I guess I just want to vent, and we just have to listen to them.
Yeah, because in the same light, I would be remiss to believe that you guys dealt with the same issue when you guys were younger too, or when you guys were our age, where you had adults who are around your age now that didn't really listen to you, and there wasn't really a space that allowed for you guys to vent. There was family, there was culture, there was tradition, but there wasn't really the venting. There wasn't really anything where we could formulate our sentences and allow for that freedom of expression to pass without somebody taking it as an offense.
Right.
You know, we are in that space and time where
They're expressive.
Not only that, but they have a lot more time, considering, you know, all the circumstances around us, all the technology, everything. It's more accessible, but it doesn't mean that everybody has access to it. You know, it's the same when it comes to words. It's the same when it comes to, you know, people's thoughts. You know, a lot of people in my generation can't formulate their thoughts because, again, a lot of them are illiterate. I sad to say, you know. That also goes back to the parenting, because it's a sync. It's a synchronization. It's love on both mutual grounds. I feel like, you know, funny enough, a great way to represent a marriage is to represent a parent and a child. In the sense that a parent and a child's love never goes away, through thick and thin, through everything. And the same way that a child is able to vent to the parent because, you know, a parent makes that space and makes that time. The parent, I'd be remiss, should do the same thing for the child when they become an adult, because that's how you guys come through equal and mutual understanding, you know, because I would say it like this: despite there's a woman behind our stories, we're all born into this life once. We all literally live this life once. And some people have more of an experience within this once in a lifetime opportunity compared to others. But it doesn't mean that we all don't have our unique viewpoints. And I believe that everybody within the newer and the younger generation can find that middle ground if we all listen. It's not about the response. It's just about being there to
listen.
Just to open your ears, you know. Not a lot of people because not a lot of people can really have the answer. We're all human. You know, we all have our mistakes. We all have our have our faults, have our short turns, but the grace comes in when we give ourselves the time to listen and give ourselves the time to really, separate amongst that. And I find the women behind our stories always happen to be the ones where we could say, my mom always listened, like even when she couldn't always be there because, again, parenting is on their mind. She always listened, she listened. Like through all this, if she could be there through this, that, and that, who's to say that she wouldn't be through that, But again, the generational curse is learning what the curse is and then breaking it.
Yes.
We break it by the communication. And sometimes we ain't going to have all the answers together, but we love our moms the same way that they gave us the floor to at least listen.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christophe. Max or King, would you like to comment, Jackie, before I say anything? In response to Christophe's.
I like how we have somebody younger who bring this to us to let us know what's going on with them also, because as you said, half the time we need somebody to listen. So half the time you want to be that outlet to just let it out. You don't want to be corrected. You don't want to hear another story. And I'm really glad Jackie bring it on to give us. Can we, even at my job in the days, I seen it, I hear it. The young people will say, oh, they don't have no manners. They don't have no manners. And I always say, most young people today is just a product of the environment. It's not matter that they don't have. They never have access to being manners.
Thank you.
So don't condemn because they don't have any manners. How can you expect something that you never give anything to? So if you think they don't have any manners, just do something instead of condemning the person. But as you said again, and I like that part, people, not because the smartphone is popular, it's not everybody's gonna have a smartphone. So
absolutely.
And in that same breath,
I want to rebut as well. I want to make a little bit of rebuttal there as well, because the generation now is, of course, not the same as when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing that you have that's different, Christophe, and that you're privileged to, is the fact that your mom will sit down, listen, and have a conversation with you. My growing up and my upbringing was totally different. I never sat down and spoke and had a conversation with my grandmother about anything, any issue. It didn't matter what the issue was. As a child growing up, you were taught to be seen and not heard. That's the generation I grew up with. Be seen but not heard. So you are very privileged to be able to converse with your parents, your mother, your grandmother, whoever those other adults are that you can communicate with, because we never had that privilege. So that's a plus for you. So kudos to you, darling.
Thank you. And Maxine, may I kind of rebuttal on that? Because while I agree, we have a privilege of it. It's also, like I said before, we could have the privilege and the plus of having, more access compared to you guys. But again, it's not really a privilege because not everybody has access to it. In that same breath, yes, you may not, you may have that be seen and not heard. We're in the opposite realm. So there's not really a privilege. We're on a be heard and not seen. Most young people don't want to be seen within the verbiage that they're actually speaking on. They just want to be heard. They don't care about being seen anymore. You feel me? Because how today's society got things run, the people who is the most seen usually are the least heard. Because again, everything is accessible. It's the same way with you guys in the older generation. I had a conversation with somebody, he was older than me, and they had made a really great point, is that older generations learn a lot faster than older generations when listening to the younger generations, and vice versa. You are a younger generation compared to your parents. If you're still alive and they're still alive, then there's still time and a chance to talk to them. And there's still a time and a chance. So it's never out of the realm of possibility, because now the older generation has the same amount of accessibility than we do. And the fact of the matter is that the older generation is older. So you guys have a lot more knowledge, not only knowledge, but rigid understanding of the systems that go on. We don't. And that's where that bridge comes in. That's where that, we have this here and you guys have this here. That's the blend. And all that the younger generation asking today is the reverse of what you guys were asking back then.
Right.
You guys want to be seen, not heard. We want to be heard.
No.
We were
Shut up and grown up back.
right. Yeah.
Right now, everybody's in this whole entire stance. Now everybody can quite literally be seen, heard, visualized, everything.
Yes.
Nothing is off the table, so there can't be a +1. Our generation is going to have it just as hard as y'all generation. It's just the fact that we're a little bit younger and we have a little bit more energy to do something about it. You guys have your, but you guys still have ears and a mouth the same way that we do. In the same way that we want to just be heard and not really seen. Sometimes people just want to listen, a listener, you know?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
Young people, they're throwing podcasts all the time. You're seeing a lot of young people doing shorter forms of content, and most of the time it's commentary about their life. Why? Because in the older generation, they were seen and not heard. So they just want to see their mom. They don't want to hear their mom. Or they want to see their parent. They don't want to hear their parent. And so that's where the discrepancy, and that's where the curses lie from the bad traditionals that end up being the curses. Because again, if you're going to be seen and heard, you're not a full human being. Because a full human being can be seen and heard. That's what our generation tries pushing. We try pushing our humanity, despite the fact that we're more accessible than anybody else. And the older generation understands humanity just before everything became institutionalized and industrialized. So that's the bridge that we want to have now. We want to claim back our humanity while you guys want to claim back the humanity from the industrial. And we want that bridge. It's just all it takes is just somebody wanting to listen to them, somebody wanting to just be there. It's not a right or wrong. Like I like now saying it's like we're not in a classroom, you know. And anything that you say and I say, even on a rebuttal or a debate, we're not going to go to the principal's office. So it's good to have healthy discourse or healthy discussion that could lead towards anything, as long as we can.
To a solution.
Yeah, as long as we can lead towards a solution, you know. And believe it or not, a lot of the young generations want to find solutions where the older generation will view it as a problem. And that's where the heard and not seen is coming from. We want to be heard. We don't necessarily care how we get viewed or seen as, because they're already like in the American society, you know how they're already going to see us a certain type of way. So how do we fight that system? By being heard despite everything. And we got to start that within the inside, within our
family,
exactly.
in the whole household.
We start that within the household and start that within the systems and build from there. That's how the community builds. You feel me? You know, it takes the whole village to raise a child, but if the child is the only one communicating on the village, how does the village build? The child is the generation, and they're represented based off. And
like Maxine said, back then we just had to be seen
and not heard. You guys are in the element where you guys are heard and seen, because you understand both, and we only understand one part, but we have
and yes, you're right.
We have the advantage to be seen because of the internet, and now we just want to be heard as much. So that's why you get so many posts of younger generation people just saying crazy. They're talking crazy. They're talking some ambitious stuff that you guys in your generation would never say. It's because that's the generation's blend, because that's where you guys actually have a lot of similarities. You guys are seen the same way that we are heard, and we just want that union.
It's just that we're in a different era.
If we keep saying different eras, then we're just going to keep seeing ourselves as different people. We're all the same humans. You just guys come from different eras. There's nothing different within the same air that we breathe. In that same context, there's nothing different about the same beds that we sleep on.
That's true.
In that same context, there's nothing different about the food that we eat. There's nothing. Are we not more valuable than birds? If we are, then we all have to understand that we're all equal, despite the fact that we're young, old, all this. The only difference is a child and
one thing I can tell you, the beds are different because no more Kaya.
You know what Kaya is?
Christoph, I'm so thankful. Christoph, I'm thankful.
I thank you so much for bringing him this morning.
Yes,
I wish
and
we can
thank
have
you
him
for
again
letting
because we
us
need to hear
hear.
the young
Yes,
people.
It has
yes, that it's
more
really a different
clarity.
conversation, a
Yes,
different,
it brings more
And,
clarity
and
different
to
flavor
you
to
know,
the show. Different flavor,
Yes.
yes, different
and
flavor.
may I
yes,
say something
Really
really
new
briefly?
today.
yes.
May I say
And you
something
know
really
what?
briefly? The fact that you guys are literally there listening, thank you. I could be wrong, I could be right, it don't matter. It's just the fact that you guys, and that's where you guys have the advantage within your guys' generation. It's the fact that you guys are listening to people like me, despite the fact that we technically don't be seen. We're not seen within America the same way that adults are. So we thank you. You know, the younger generation just thanks older people for wanting to even listen and hear our story. Because we know that you guys know, but we've never been heard the same way that you guys have always been seen.
And so if we can, so once again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Morning Runnings, where culture meets conversation. The topic is the woman behind my story, which, you know, it refers to you, the woman behind your story. And Jackie's son, Christoph, you know, has joined us this morning, and he's bringing his understanding and perspective of his generation and how the mirror between the two is so much the same, pretty much the same. When we were younger, we were told to be seen and not heard. That was it. And so, in that Caribbean culture, it is a struggle today for a lot of people who have children today, whether they are here in these United States or they're other parts of the world. A lot of people don't understand how to adapt to the difference between the two, which is why you hear parents continue to stress about the fact that the picnic them no listen. And if it were back in my day, bearing in mind, then back in their day, our day, it still wasn't easy. We had a communication problem. And here you are today, as Christoph alluded to, they have all these gadgets. They are so much more aware. So when they come off to us as being brash or a little too outspoken, and the theme of the show hasn't changed here, might I remind everybody. It's just that he's saying we need people to listen to us too. That's really what it is. Rather than grappling about the fact of what they are not doing and not doing well. So the woman behind a story as a parent, it is so vast. The variables are so wide. You know why? You can have a parent, a mother, who she don't earn a lot of money. She has one child or one too many. There was an ad in Jamaica about one too many. And so she's being pulled emotionally, physically, because sometimes she is so exhausted from overworking herself to be able to bring in the $2 little to care for her children, that sometimes she don't have no time to sit and listen to a child. And if you're not careful, when they are not receiving what they should from their mom, that woman who they look up to, they don't realize that on the back end, she's having her own challenges. She don't have enough. She don't have support. She don't know who to talk to. When I open up to somebody to say, my hair is falling out because stress is killing me. So the woman behind the story really helps to shape a human being, because if the child who is looking on is saying she never has time for me, so they find another route for somebody to listen. You'd be surprised if a woman actually sits down and talk the truth, share her story about raising 1, 2, or 10 children, and in a lot of these relationships, for some reason, some of the men don't stay. So the woman behind this story and how she has pretty much passed on to you without you realizing it.
I can add a little something to that because I raised Christoph by myself.
Mhm.
And Christoph can tell you, he started taking the bus. He grew up in New York. He was born in New York, grew up in New York, went to school in New York. And he can tell you that, or if he remembers.
I started taking the bus when I was 6.
That's what I was going to say. Christoph started taking the bus when he was like 7 years old by himself.
I saw crackheads at the same age and everything the world had to offer in New York.
And I had no choice because I was working 2 jobs and trying to go to school at the same time too. And I had to, I told him one morning, I said, you're going to have to find your way home because I'm going to have to work. I have to leave one job and I have to go to the other job. And I said, we're going to practice how you're going to get home. And I never forget the morning I told him that. We always walked together to the bus stop so we could get the bus. I would stop and drop him off at school and I would head to work. Then I would come back and pick him up and, head home with him and then even go back to another job. But this particular morning, when I told him that, it's like he wanted to prove to me that he knew his way and he knew what to do. So he took the road in front of me. And with this time, we were living in Fordham. We lived at 193rd on the concourse right there. So we had to walk a few blocks out to Fordham Road to catch the 60 bus going towards your side there, Eastchester side. And that particular morning, he took the road in front of me. And I walked fast, but I couldn't catch him. By the time I got to the next intersection, which was 192nd, we had to cross there over to going towards Valentine Avenue. And you have to cross the concourse, which is a double thoroughfare and very busy. There's a stoplight there. By the time I got to the stoplight, Christoph was already on the other side of the road. And the light changed. I had to wait for the light. So by the time the light changed and I was able to get across the road, he had already gone onto Valentine's and around the corner. I could no longer see him. So by now I was running. Wow. I was running. By the time I got to Valentine, he was already at the end of that block. And it's a long block. And all I could see was a little yellow shirt that he was wearing. And he was already down to Fordham Road. I never forget it because I played over and over in my head. By the time I got to that end of that block at Valentine and Fordham Road, he was already standing at the bus stop across the street down the block, down the other block. I could have scolded him, or did I? I don't even remember. I could have scolded him. All I said was, you can't do that. Yes, I know that you want to prove to me that you know where you're going. And you know that you know the way and all of that, but you still have to wait for me.
You want to know what's so funny? It wasn't even really, if I said in my it wasn't that I wanted to prove anything. It's the fact that I just wanted to show you had already guided me enough to where I need to. You're like, okay. I put this in a weird analogy, but I hope that this kind of blends together. If you know the analogy they always say is like, if you tell a child to not touch the fire, they're still going to touch it.
I touch it.
In today's day and age, a child just knows the why, and I guarantee you they're going to stop. That story is a perfect example of giving me a why, and then you're going to see me react. Because my mom had already told me the routes. Like she said, I'd always gone to school with my mom on the buses. So instinctively, as a child, I already knew which route we were going to go. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a proof. I just wanted to show my mom, hey, you've taken the reins and taken the lead all this time for me to go to school. Let me show you that I could do it, you know? because
Yes.
we've already done this route. How long of my life I should remember how to get to school and get home. And for me, it was more important because I'm a child in New York. In the early 2000s, very dangerous, especially where I was going to school at, because that was in Gun Hill Road. There were still active shooters over there. There were still active people getting hurt there. You know, there was still a lot of bad stuff that was happening within Boston Road and Gun Hill Road. But my mom just had faith in me to go about doing school because she pushed education. And she answered the why in terms of education being important. And that had it set in my mind, okay, I got to do this, you know, not only for me, but for my mom too.
But that was the less frightening one.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that happened is, of course, I gave him a set of keys so he could get in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at work. I left one job, went to the other job. Now he needs to get from school out to the bus stop, jump on the bus, and head back home. Then when you get home, you call me. This particular day, I left one job, went to the other job, and then by then he would be calling me to tell me that he made it home. I didn't. I tried to call the house because that time we didn't have cell phone. So I tried to call the house. We had landline, and I was calling the house and no answer. I'm saying, oh my God, I started to panic. I was telling the guy who managed the place, I said, I have to leave because I didn't hear from my son. I don't know what's happening. And I was working, but I was panicking. And next thing, I got a call. So when he called, I said, what happened to you? Wait a minute. How come you didn't answer the phone? He said, Mom, I just got home. So how come you just got home and I'm here? So I was there like in a panic. How come you just got home and I'm here waiting for you to call or whatever? He said he was standing at the bus stop waiting for the 60 bus to come. The 60 bus did not come. I never tell him to do anything else, but take the 60 bus because it's one stop. It takes you all the way to Fordham and that's it. You don't have to go anywhere else. You just walk up to the house. The picnic told me he didn't see the 60 bus come on time, so he walked down to Gun Hill Road from up by you, Lady D. Up by he walked from there because the school is across the street from you. The school that he went to. Yes, 78.
Oh, 78. Yes.
78.
Avenue, yeah.
He walked from there down to Gun Hill Road, got on the 28 bus to 205th Street, went down in the train station, took the train one stop. You took the train, a 7-year-old took the train one stop, and then walk up to the house. Walk up the subway, and then he walked over to the house.
Okay, when you put it in that perspective, that is looking back at it.
It was thinking ahead of you, Jackie. It was quite ahead of you.
But you know, it's sometimes I tell people when they tell the story, not every child you can do that with or take that chance with. Christoph has always been a big kid, so they thought that he was older.
Most of the kids thought I was 13.
He was 7 going on 8. The time by now he was like 8.
Well,
But
no.
he was a big kid and tall,
If
and
you
people
never
thought that
tried
he
that,
was.
no. If you
I
never
tell-
tried
I
that,
tell- you have to know your child. Huh? You, as a mother, you have to know your child and know what the child can do and what you can allow them to do. I knew that he wasn't going to turn on the stove and do anything stupid.
Right.
Because she had already
And
explained why.
I showed him that. I explained to him why, and I showed him how to make an egg if he wanted to fry an egg and have something to eat. And I always have something in the fridge that he could eat. So if he didn't want to make an egg, but I knew that he wasn't going to turn on the stove or do anything silly.
Again, my mom's the woman behind my story. So again, my mom had explained to me the whys in majority of my younger years. And that's why I was able to move the way I was, because truly it's like, I hate to say it like that, but as y'all know, within New York, it's relatively typical to see kids of my age around that time going to the bus or going to the train by myself. You know, so I didn't think of it the same way that you guys would within Jamaica. That seems like a very big deal, you know?
Maybe from we born, we are taking we own transportation.
Yes. Children, we do things younger, earlier than you guys.
Right. So
Our
Lord of mercy.
You guys already instinctively have that, you know what, like a tracking missile. It's like I know where to go home. You know, I know where to go.
Right, but the thing is, the culture is different, and we live in a big city that a lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
So that was like taking a chance, and that's why I was teaching you from early, you know, how to do things. And that was just the second situation. There was a third situation where the police showed up at my house.
Mm-hmm.
Lux.
Okay.
Because of his independence.
I remember.
The police showed up at the house with him.
That was stupid.
No, it wasn't stupid. When he was done with the police, they left.
Yes.
Nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because Christoph, like he was very confident, and he what he was doing, he called me this time, but he dialed so fast, and with Christoph type, you wouldn't think so, you know, fast. He dialed my number, but he dialed 9117 instead of 917. The police picked up the 911 part and traced the call to my house.
I moved
Came to my home because he was trying to finish up homework, finish up everything so he can jump on his game. And dialed 9117 instead of 917. And he realized what he did. And that's when he tapped 917 and called my number. And I answered. And everything was okay. Next thing I know, I hear call. What was it? The police calling me? I think the police called me from there. I don't remember. But they said this is the police. I said, police? I was at work. Police. And the police said, he's a minor. He's a minor, and he's in this house all by himself. So I explained to the police. I explained to the police that I'm at work. I work 2 jobs, and I'm a single mother, and I have to, you know, I had to teach him how to be on his own and how to get home and how to. So Christoph was saying, "Ma," in the background. Christoph was saying, "Mom, I'm fine. I don't know what they're talking about." And they went in the kitchen. They look in the cupboard. They look in the fridge. They saw his name over the kitchen. He had made a little art thing at school with his name on it, and I put it over the kitchen door. They saw all that. They went through the little apartment, and they looked, and they realized that he was comfortable. And they said, you can't do this again. He shouldn't be on his own. So I told him Auntie was close by, because when he got home, Auntie would be home like within an hour.
Oh,
but this time it was a little delayed, so she was at like Burnside, which was like 2 or 3 stops from Kingsbridge. And and the police lady said he seemed to be comfortable. He has food, and he was talking to the police. You don't have to stay. My mom looks after me. I'm fine.
That was for me.
So the police, you know, this boy was telling the police, I'm fine. You don't need to stay here.
So Jackie,
I'll have to say in my mind, can y'all please leave? I don't need you. It was
yes.
Please don't
But,
call.
you know, as we're talking here, because we've been doing this show for several years now, and we all have talked about the people in our lives. And Christoph spoke of you, and now you're sharing some of those coping mechanisms, those tools that you taught him early. Now, we asked earlier if Mom is available, because we would also like to hear Mom, if she would like to pour into us, you know, about who was the woman behind her story as well. So if possible, we would love to get her. Just reminding you, you're tuning to Saturday Morning Runnings right here on Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. And this morning you have alongside Jackie Max and yours truly, Ryan and Christoph. And Christoph is sharing his story with us and, you know, bringing us into the know about how young people see things in this life here. And that's what, guess who is coming? Guess who is here?
Sharon?
No.
Okay, I'm back to that.
Hey, Madam Ambassador, how are you?
You remember Sister Charlotte from church? And Brother Ralph?
You keep where?
I know, me know, son, love me, you know.
Listen,
Me never
You
know.
keep where?
Yes.
Good
Don't tell nobody.
yes,
Good
yes.
to see you, darling.
Yeah.
So good to see you. Christoph joined us with Jackie. Or Jack? Jack, can you mute? Jackie,
Hey,
I'm going to have to mute you when you're talking to him.
oh, sorry.
Yes. Okay, so Sharon T, welcome. We're talking about the woman behind our story.
Uh-huh.
And Christoph is here with us sharing about his mom and listen. She's learned how to listen, as painful as it may be, but she's learned how to listen. But before Sharon's you share, so welcome. We're glad you come. You sip your, what is that? Your juice, water?
OJ. It's OJ.
Okay, yeah. But before that, let's just pop in. So Paula,
That's anything, you know, see, I'm Lady D. I know I'm late and all of that, but on a Saturday like this, please, we should have some Merlot. We
That
should all
is
be
true.
sipping some Merlot. What Mariah wanting? Where's the tree?
Thank you. Thank you. Something should have been happening here. All
We
right.
should have glasses of stuff. Come on now.
That is true.
Let me answer this. This is my job.
Let's just take some quick notes here from Paula. She says, the woman behind my story is my mother. Even though she died when I was 11 years old, I still remember her strength and determination to always love. And I know, Paula, we grew up together. Minty, she says, amen to Grandma Ruby. She knows of my grandmother, never met her. So true. Heard all of the beautiful, amazing strength of Grandma Ruby May stories. Bless both their souls, and Auntie Joy too. Yes, Auntie Joy passed away recently. Good morning, Pat. Good to have you. Co-producer is here. He says, the women behind my story are my mother and my sister, Jennifer Green. My father died when I was an infant, so I've often said my mother, who fathered me, sacrifice, prayers, and love. Incomparable, he says. He goes on, at 17, I moved to Kingston to live with my sister Jennifer, and the neon lights came on in my life, and I'm forever grateful. Thanks be to God for the wonderful woman behind my story. Thank you for sharing, co-producer.
Very good.
Let's see who else we have here. Oh, Mom is texting, but we'd love to have Mom here. My question is, does a conversation have two sides, your side and my side? If you expect to talk and is not willing to listen to the other person's opinion, does it make sense? All right, so we can get into that. Minty is saying this is a great conversation to have next weekend or the next. Okay, we should continue. That's what she's saying. The voice of the youth. Evoli is saying, he second what Minty is saying. Mom says, there is a big difference. We used to sleep on mattresses made with dried banana leaves. See,
And Kaya, we call it Kaya mattress.
We hear you, bro, and so true.
Got to have Kaya now.
Yes. Great, Christoph. I've always bigging you up. I believe so too. Parker is here. Good morning, beautiful ladies. Good morning, Parker. And Jax, I've always bigging you up on the job. Well done with Christoph. Parker says, so true. Some parents don't listen to the young ones.
True.
Yeah. Mom says, ask Jackie how it was when they were growing up. Thursday nights, game night, and family time.
Yep.
Yes.
That's another story, boy.
Eval says, Jackie, I used to run left mama because I didn't want to carry the market basket.
Even the basket.
No run left Dennis, though. You better carry it.
You better carry it on top of your head.
All right. So Evol says, I'm curious to hear how Christoph would raise his child. All right, we'll get to that.
Wow.
Yeah, I really want to know though. Like,
Certainly not like me.
You're a street smart New Yorker. Evol says,
Yeah.
Lord, the show sell
I'm
out
not so more books running.
that come from Farid. Okay, then.
For another boats.
Evol say, your Madam Ambassador come from Farid.
None, plain none.
All right, so Shanti, what's your take? The woman behind this story.
Your story.
The woman behind my story. Let me see now. I have, like I've always said, my grandmother has been my mother. At least 90% of all my reflections and anything that I would say comes from my grandmother. My mother did play a vital role in my life as well, but from behind the scenes, put it that way. And everything, my entire persona is coming from my grandmother. My belief system, my entire makeup is my grandmother for as long as I've known. And I was her handbag because of the fact that she raised myself and like a couple of my cousins, but I was the last one she took, and she was well in age at that time. So I was her handbag. Everywhere she was, I was at her elbow, everywhere. So the things that I would quote and the words sometimes that I would say, phrases, are just like things that I absorbed. I don't even think about what I'm going to say sometimes. It just comes out and I say, oh Lord, there's mum. So that a lot of my influence is from mum. And I do thank God for my mother, because it was her desire that I am a well-rounded person on account of my mother, because unlike some of my peers whose mothers, gave them to their grandparents and never looked back, never had a hand in their upbringing, that is not my story. My mother made sure her whole thing was that she didn't want me to think that she didn't want me, and she quote unquote gave me away, because my grandmother like forcefully took me. And the fact that I was raised not with her, she didn't want it to be a negative sort of experience. And I'm thankful for the upbringing that I experienced growing up in the country. And she made sure that I was well balanced in that I had to go to Kingston every holiday. And she was a person that was forward thinking, and she was flashy, she was sophisticated. So it was a far cry from my humble upbringing in the country. When I went to Kingston, it was all about going out. We had, Kingston was when I realized you had yard clothes and outgoing clothes. In the country, just yard clothes.
Right.
When you go Kingston, we had to take a shower every day. We had to put on nice clean clothes in the evening, even if you was only going to the gateway to stand up and greet passers-by or your neighbor down the road or whatever. You had to be clean and stuff. In the country growing up, I used to just run to the shop, run so, climb tree, do all kind of stuff. And I remember once one of my older cousins, we tend to call them aunts. She was actually, we were living in Harborview. My mother was living in Harborview at the time. And I wanted to go to the supermarket. That's how you had Shoppers Fair and Hi-Ho and all them supermarkets. And I wanted to go, and I just get up myself and just walk and gone. Clothes not stay right. I felt fine, but apparently here should have did comb and me should have been more, And my cousin came off the bus at the roundabout and saw me and told my mother, because they used to call me behind my mother back. They would tease me and say, "You're country bumpkin, you're country bumpkin, you're country bumpkin," like that. And she felt like I was literally bringing shame to the family, because how dare I go to they used to have some little jelly rolls. There was a a bakery at Harborview Shopping Center, and they had jelly rolls that I was very fond of. So I went to get a jelly roll. And I didn't think, I just went. And so, she was telling my mother that, oh, I was on the street, I made never look, but it look pull up, and my clothes were clean, and here could have come, and things of that
Chaka
nature.
chaka.
She didn't look chaka chaka in short. I was looking chaka chaka.
Chaka chaka.
Yeah, man. And she was saying it with much enthusiasm and a pile it on as if she think my mother got beat me or whatever. And I do have to say that my mother has never talked harshly to me. She never beat me, not one day.
Same here.
Never.
Same here.
She never talked harshly to me. She would just say, next time, looking at the mirror and brush down your hair before you go, and such and such and such, and make sure you put them in white and all of that. And me say, yes, ma'am, and things. But she made sure I was very cultured. She made sure I went to pantomime and all of those things, anything cultural, going to the stadium. Like when we go back our country, we have much to tell my friends, because this is an experience that they are not having. You know what I mean? So as a little country girl growing up in the country, my mother made sure that I was exposed to another kind of life, because it was like a far cry. When I went to Kingston, they had TV. I went back to the country, I didn't have no TV. So like Romper Room, Miss Lou, all of them.
Yes.
I absorbed all of that while I was there, because I wouldn't get to see anymore until the next go round. Whether it was Christmas or the next year was summer, it was going to be Easter. And then my sisters were culture shock, shell shock when they came, because my mother, what she did, that was so fair. God rest her soul. And I'm trying to get to her grave today to lay down some flowers, actually.
Okay.
But she made sure that they also got a taste of country life. So she would part the holiday, summer is longer. So they would do half with me, and then I did the other half. And she would make sure, she was like, go have no TV, but that's what it is. Go learn to do this, go learn to do that. And they are very grateful for it today. They have very fond memories, and they make, references very often. So, I'm happy that I had those two influences in my life. My grandmother in my formative years, at least until I became a mother myself, and I had to leave her and come here and think. But, my mother brought me here because she still, although I was already, married with my daughter and everything, she still refused to not involve me. And she said, you have to come. I'm taking the other three, and you have to come. So as I had recounted many times, I came here under much duress, because I was fine living my life where I was. But she said, no, let me give you the chance to come here. If you don't want to stay, it's fine, but let me make sure I do that. So God rest all of her 5 foot or 5 feet. She was a very petite woman, very, very, very gorgeous in my opinion. And I carry her in my heart always. And that's it. And that's my mommy right there.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Nice. Well said.
Wonderful. Thanks
Well
for
put
sharing.
together, yeah.
Now, Drea says, I loved my mom, who died at 49. She was very giving and helpful, not just to us as children, but others. Anything she knows she would buy for me. She was a peaceful person. And she goes on to say, if it seems I'm going out of line, she would say, remember, you're a Christian. One that kind of reminder. Then Lovey says, behind my stories, my grandma, she's the one who raised me, even though my mother was alive. She passed away when I was 6 years old, leaving behind my sister Sophia and my brothers Chedi. And I think she had something else to say, but Drea says, thank you, Lovey. Drea says, I was privileged to be the one who lived in Canada with her. She only slapped me once when I answer her. Must you want like a cat or something? So
Well, like Sharon, my mother's never touched me. My mother, she didn't even talk hard to me. She never speak to me loud at no given time. I can't remember her even yelling at me for any reason. Even though I didn't grow up with her, she was in the same district as I was. But I never get any harsh words from her. She was just always very loving and soft. My grandmother would say, my mother, Eunice, a soft soap. Those were my grandmother's expression to describe her, because she was just not that crudish kind of person.
Right.
But I did mention earlier that I would love to share a poem from my book.
Yes, please.
I have more than one relevant poem, but I want to share this one in particular because it's kind of very, it describes my grandmother and me. I wrote this poem. It's entitled "To Color Her Father." So it's referring to father. It's more like a Father's Day, but it's relevant because my grandmother, who was my mother and father, let's put it that way. To color her father. She was the only father I knew. She taught me all the things I know how to do, like ironing my clothes nice and crisp and preparing the most delicious dish. Cleaning house was her priority. Today, it's my speciality. And so I want to color her father. I want to color her love. She tilled the soil and planted field. She chopped the wood to cook the meals. She used an axe just like a man. As a child, I couldn't understand. But today, I want to color her father. I want to color her love. She made all plans. She made all business plans and carried them through like a man. She paid taxes when they were due, and her expenses, they sure weren't few. She did the best she could, just like any responsible dad would. And so I want to color her father. I want to color her love. Without her, my education would never be. I probably would never be able to read. And though she could not read or write, she fought real hard for my insight. And so today, I want to color her father. I want to color her love. She was my grandmother who fathered me with lots of love unconditionally. She was a nurse, counselor, mother, and more. You named the role, she had it scored. And though she went to a different world, I still adore her as my pearl. And so today, I must color her father. I must color her love. For all you moms who are playing dad and sometimes you feel just kind of sad, here is something you should do. Color yourself, father. Color yourself, love. Thank you.
No.
Wow,
Thanks.
wow. That's a tear jerker right there.
Yes, very nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Maxie, thank
It
you,
is,
thank
thank
you.
yeah.
Mhm. That was good. But, you know, as we're here today, for many people, their go to maybe to the negative aspect of how they were brought up by this woman. And maybe it was prolonged and you could not find, you know, a space for laughter. You couldn't find a space where you felt, I need a break. For a lot of us. And we maybe saw our mother as just a person who is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have children. Those of you who have children, what parts of your mother do you think you have passed on to your children?
Well, I'm very happy that one, I had my daughter. Let me see, my daughter was 4 when my grandmother passed away, and as far as my mother and my daughter were so very tight, very tight, because she was the first grandchild, and she was overjoyed. She was extremely happy that you know that I had her, that she was able to see my offspring. She did see my son as well. She spent lots of time with my mother just passed 4 years ago, and my son is 29, so he has spent some time with his grandmother as well. But the mother and the grandmother that I am, and it's incidentally that I became a grandmother the same age at which I made my mother become a grandmother. And I became a grandmother at 48. My mother also became a grandmother at 48 when I had my daughter. And I remember some of her friends, because I've always, my mother was fashion plate, was all that chips. And some of her, yeah, man, some of her friends, even came to me and said, how dare you be having a child so young and making the mother a grandmother before her time?
No, dear.
And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? I remember one of them, and that's after I came here and my mother went with me. I mean, they said that behind my mother's back because she would not have stood for that. But some things I just pondered in my heart and just kept it. I went to find a babysitter for my daughter when I first came here. And because I had to finish college and stuff, because all of y'all know by now I got married young. My daughter was out 22 years old. And so I wanted to finish. And my mother went with me to find a babysitter, and somebody was recommended to her. And somebody that she knew had business. And I tell you not, kid you not rather, when I got to the house, as soon as that woman came and opened the door and we stepped across the threshold, the woman took one look at me and said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What?
Just like that. She was one of them transplant Jamaican who went to Great Britain. That's what we call it. She went to Great Britain, spent some amount of years. So she was very cultured. And then she came here to the States and she was Wasara cultured.
Cultured in what?
Yeah. So she looked at me and she said, the woman, she barely would utter a greet. She woman just look, look, me never find one picture and put with me and my daughter. I looked very young, yes. But she was like, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I was taken aback as so what my mother was. My mother said, why would you say that? And she said, you're a young girl and you have a child already. And And my poor mother, who she's not confrontational.
Yes,
like your mother, she was just soft and just docile and just nice soft. She just took and we spin the roll soft and exited stage left. She said, I'm here for you to, it's my granddaughter the following week.
You sound like you're reading from the production script.
I said, no, not from them. It's all up here. And she said, how dare you say that to her?
Out of order.
And then she looked
forward.
And let me tell you, my daughter, when I came here with her, she was 16 months old. 16 months old. And I had potty trained her. So she never had on diaper. So I had her with me. And the woman lived down the block. So we never had to drive her with us like 4 houses down. And when I put my daughter on the ground to stand, because although this woman had a childcare business, when you look in her house, her living room had carpet that was fluffy and white. And she had like a little barricade. So, when you can't cross there, then she had her, her entryway, kitchen and dining area. When I put my daughter to stand up and she saw that, however, she could deduce that she never had diaper on. And she said, she is not wearing a diaper. I said, no, she's potty trained. She said, can't be. How old is she? My mother was like, you know what? This is not going to work. Let's leave.
Yeah, left right away.
Wanna spend long.
Not true.
Oh, no.
Right?
I have that kind of patience from my mother.
All this transpired within like a 5-minute time span between the ball out. How dare you? You have to be ashamed of yourself. And when we set down the chat, she said she in a diaper. Oh no, that was all or less than 5 minutes, But I'm just saying that
Oh, God.
I am a proud grandmother. I wear it with a badge, like a badge of honor. My mother, she was happy to welcome my daughter and become grandmother at the same age. I became a grandmother because it was almost like, because you're a grandmother, now you're quote unquote old, because your child is now producing children. So now you're old, you're not, fashion plate material anymore. And my mother was not having that. So I was happy for her support and her love, given the fact too that I was in a space where I was not familiar with, because I was just coming here. That's the first week I stepped in this country. I was not familiar with a thing. But she defended me, man. So I was like, yeah, big ups, big ups, big ups to Merles.
Well, thank you so much. So, Jax, please unmute yourself. Yes, and going forward, I'll have to mute because apparently there's a feedback that some people are hearing. So I'll have to mute you, accordingly. So, Jax, what part of your story do you think was formed, ingrained into you from your mother?
From my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So much.
I became the second mother in the house. Well, maybe the second mother. But when I left my grandparents and came to live with my mother, and that was when I was close to getting ready for high school, the common entrance exam and so on. It was around about that time. I was already trained by my grandmother, who I loved dearly, because that's who I grew up with. But coming down from up in Freehill, which is the countryside, down to Runaway Bay, is like when Charlotte leave Montego Bay and go into Kingston, because it was a little bit more. There was a little bit more access. There were vehicles in the yard, so we would get. My mother would take us, we'd drive to church, or she'd drop us at the bus, or she'd drop us to school. So it was a little bit different there. And this is where I really got to know my mother, because all the time I was with grandma. I grew up with grandma. So, and I would see in her that motherly part of her, because, the way she thinks about us as her children, it's like nobody is different from the other. Nobody is, we're all equal. And in the household, you couldn't say step. We had a step. They were my stepfather's children, and we couldn't say step. It's my stepbrother or stepsister. We couldn't say that, because in the household, my mother everybody was equal. Mm-hmm. So I think I got that motherly kind, giving part of her. My mother is a very giving person. Mm-hmm. We give the last something when she have to take off our shoes off our foot and give to people. We give her shoes and she take it off and give to somebody.
Oh, yeah, we hear you. Okay.
So, I think I got that from her. Mm-hmm. She's always worried about somebody. When we tell her don't worry about nobody, I will look into myself, but we are the same thing too, worrying about people. So that part I think I got from her. Apart from the cooking, I don't know if this is considered a part of it, but apart from the cooking, because whenever my mother was baking or cooking something, I was always in the kitchen right next to her. Mm-hmm. Is it if she call me, or I would present myself, because me want to see all this bake, me want to see all this cook. So from early, she would leave, because she used to drive a bus and carry tourists. She used to have her own bus and she carried tourists. So she would leave, like she come and start the dinner, and then she would leave and go pick them up to come back. So I would have to finish the dinner. Mm-hmm. So I watched her so much. I was like right next to her when she was doing everything. I learned how to prepare the food, how to bake the cakes, and so on.
Okay.
So I got that from Mom.
You got that. Well, congrats, Mom. And Mr. King, what say you?
Well, says it all enough, but Jackie, again, I thank you for bringing your son on, because trust me, him light up the cave this morning.
Mm-hmm. So, the question is, Ryan, what parts of your story did you get from your mom? What traits of your mother? Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, well, one thing I can say, my mother is zero tolerance when it comes down to most things. And in spite of everything, my mother was not an upholder of nothing wrong, no care how simple it is. When it's wrong, it's just wrong. I will never forget as a child, I picked Mr. Murray mango, and it's about 2 miles or more. And Mr. Murray walk back at me till me catch show my mat, and then me run back a hide, and my sister asks, why you run here? What happened? Until me and my mother called me out in front of Mr. Murray and said, where Mr. Murray mango there? Nobody come here about nothing with your teeth. You did ask him for your mango. Bring it back, guy, man. You go put it on my mango tree. I mean, nice way. She chew you up right out there, right in front of the crowd. She not care. I mean, if you walk, go back, put it down. And when we come back, she say, if you don't go turn thief, you don't go to jail, you go call the police.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother was, I know nonsense with. My mother cut me for me and because me eat out sugar, me decide say she could have go hell or high water. Me not even look upon her. And she came me got the kitchen and said, you not own it. And she pull out the jar with the knife. And my little sister did they cry. Oh, yeah. She cut me and me just walk away.
Oh my God.
So what do you think you got from your mother?
That's why, Queen, do not make me trust you and your lie. It's done. Okay. There is no coming back from lying. It done. It may have brought the stick and throw it out and you. That's why I would never want to be in a relationship like a marriage and you lied to me one time. The divorce coming next because it just gone. There is no recovery.
You don't appreciate deception. So deception is something you think was passed down to you?
I tell a man, Ryan, do not believe in I'm sorry, it may comforted fools.
Mm-hmm.
No coming back. You lie one time, it done.
All right, so you got that from your mom.
Yes.
You got that from your mom. All right, so Maxie, what say you? Because you had given us your intro, but here we are wrapping up.
Okay, so for me, I got this from my grandmother. And this is a scarf that could make me a top. This is the last thing I got from her. It's a beautiful scarf. And like Jackie said, when her mother got gift, she would give it away. My grandmother received the scarf when she went to England the last time before she passed away. And she passed it on to me because that's who she was. She just loved giving stuff. Whenever I'd visit home, when after I became adult, she would just give stuff. But one of the things I got from her was praying. My grandmother prayed a lot. I mean, she was a prayerful person. And I find myself doing that a whole lot too. Another thing that I received from her, I used to watch her cook and share dinner for my uncle. My uncle wasn't living at her house, but she would leave dinner for him every evening. Every evening she would make a plate for him. And she shared it a special way. And I do the same thing for my husband and any maid that comes around me. You know, I serve the food differently. I adopted that as part of my growing up and as into my marriage. So prayer and preparation, food preparation were two of the things I got from her. Another thing too, that she was sometimes very kind of that soft. She would say, oh, she would get hungry and stuff and say, me nah this or me nah that. You know, I swear I'm not doing certain thing, but then the soft part of her would come right back around and she would just do it. That's how I am, and those are the things I received from her. May her soul rest in peace. Love the woman she was.
For me, as we're wrapping up, I got the power to pray from my grandmother, Ruby Mae Sands Thomas, and how to be forthright. I didn't learn that part until later. To speak your mind and allow a person to hear you. That part I got later in life. And so I maintain that. I will let you know what I feel, what I hear from you. I'll be able to stand up and let you know that I hear you, and I'll have to hash it out. But I'm not passive. Also learned from my Auntie Madge, who also had such a instrumental role to play in my life because when she had got married and they built their home, somehow she asked for me to come and stay with them because the house was now in its final stages, of being built and so on. So I went to live with her, and I saw in her the principle of discipline, where how she managed her money. She worked as a banker, how she managed her money, how she took care of her children and ran her home and her husband. So I learned that how to communicate and be honest about it. So I learned that from her. I learned from Auntie May, the youngest child of my grandmother, Old May, affectionately called by me, how to just go through life, to laugh. She's a praying person, and Old May is very personable. You see her, she walk into her room and she's just there. Jackie, you know Old May.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, when she came. Yes. No, I was mixing her up with the other auntie.
Oh, Auntie Joy. That's Auntie Joy. Auntie
Yes.
Joy, her personality, she was more reserved. Auntie Paula,
Auntie Paula.
we shared house. Auntie Paula, she is the kind of woman who you may not always know what she thinks, but she is very very deep kind of individual. You can't read her really. So you learn that personality as well. So they all have a part to play in my life, and my uncles and all of them. So I am grateful for the woman who gave birth to her girls, who helped to form who I am today. And of course, I've had friends who also had a vital role. Some of them pushed me and said, go do that, Denise, and and all of that. So we're grateful for women. And again, our mothers may not have gotten it right, and we won't get it right, but we trust that grace is now applied. So for those of you who you love your mother dearly, but there is something that you haven't done that you need to do to salvage a relationship or make it better, let this Mother's Day find you doing that.
Yeah.
But I thank you all, ladies, and to King for coming in and sharing, and kudos to Christoph for allowing us to hear, what young people are saying today, that they have a voice, unlike ours, who were told we are to be seen and not heard. They want you to hear them whether you like it or not, or else they have other means of communicating. And sometimes, we may not appreciate it because we're still stuck in time.
Yes.
But when you have children and grandchildren in today's day, you better catch up quick. Feeling that you're going to lose them. You're going to lose them. So we're wrapping up now. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today. Thanks, co-producer. I know you being here.
So he's away.
Yes.
But just before we go, I'd just like to take this little time to send out my condolences to the family of my friend that passed, my friend Kukudu. Kukudu and I, from the moment we met.
Hold on a little bit. Which Kukudu?
Yes.
Him dead?
Yeah.
He passed away yesterday. He and I met, we became brother and sister. I could call Kukudu at any time and he would call me. It's just the other day he called me and he said, Jack, I want you to do a little video for me with one of my songs. Just do a little video and send it, come give me. And I'll because I'm compiling a little something to put on the on Instagram. So I said, sure. So one day before I went to work, I think I had on my uniform. I did the song for him. I think it was Jerusalem. I don't remember which one. So I did a little video and sent it. So yesterday when I saw his sister posted it, I thought it was a joke. Because it was posted through his page. So I thought it was a joke. So I started looking at when the Prime Minister posted it. That's when it really solidifies that he was really
he had made his transition.
And I didn't even know that he was sick, because he didn't say anything. He kept on performing, kept on doing it. So Godspeed, and may his soul rest in peace.
Indeed. And to wrap up, I'd like to just share this, just to affirm our mothers today. You are the first heartbeat someone else learned to trust. You are the hands that showed up before the words ever came. You are the prayer whispered at midnight, the meal stretched to feed one more, the arms that held together what life tried to pull apart. You're not just a mother, you're a miracle in motion. Today, we want to hear what the world doesn't always say loudly enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. The love you poured out, even on the days you felt empty, was still more than enough. To the mothers who carried life in their bodies, you are celebrated. To the grandmothers who came back around and mothered a second generation with even more grace, you are celebrated. To the aunties, the godmothers, the big sisters, the neighbors who stepped in without being asked, you are celebrated. To the mothers who are raising children through grief, through struggles, through uncertainty, showing up every single day, even when your own heart is heavy, you are celebrated. To the mothers whose arms ache for the children they lost, the children they never got to hold, the children who no longer call, your love is still real. You are still a mother. You are celebrated. To the woman who poured into others' children as if they were their very own, you are celebrated. Know this today and carry it with you always. The world is better because you are in it. The people in your life are stronger because you poured into them. The stories being written right now have your fingerprints all over them. Even the pages you never saw, even the chapters you didn't know you were shaping. You are the woman behind somebody's story. And that, beloved, is one of the greatest calling there is. So today, put the load down for a moment. Let somebody else serve you. Let the love come back to you. Receive it with open hands and a full heart. You deserve every single flower. Happy Mother's Day with all the love from all of us here at Saturday Morning Runnings.
All
Have a
right.
That
great,
was very pretty. That was beautiful. Very pretty.
have a
And very
great,
nice.
yes. Have a great Mother's Day tomorrow, moms, and to all the children who are just going to wine and dine you and whatnot. Enjoy
Oh,
yourself
dear Lord.
If you can find a space in the
in the restaurant.
restaurant, they sell more flowers on Mother's Day than on Valentine's Day
Yes.
Yeah.
worldwide.
And you know what's going to be full? The cemetery.
Mhm.
As for somebody
Yes.
who's going to go to the cemetery, I just know that the cemetery is going to be. I have seen so many. I've seen people like lay down prostrate on top of their mother grave, just weeping, just prostrate. They just go there and sit for hours, and just to lighten the moment. I mentioned it when last year that happened when we went. There was a family who came and had a cookout at the mother's grave. They had the whole thing, the foil pans, sterners, the grill, the plates, the chairs. They just came and camped out, made a circle around the grave, and just was having a cookout. So I said, well, maybe, hey, it might be their family tradition. Who knows? I thought it was a bit much, but who am I to say? But
Right.
it may
Yeah.
have been something very meaningful because they were just going with themselves. But as somebody who has to go to the cemetery, we have to remember those persons. Not everybody, when it comes to Mother's Day, you may remember, the memories never leave. So
That is right.
somebody's reality.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, everybody. And by the way, Julia Benaya of Fit FM 96.7 in Duncan's Trelawney will be carrying Saturday morning running show starting next Saturday.
Wow.
Nice.
So I thought she was doing that before.
Not Saturday morning.
Oh, it's the
It's the
The
Monday
other-
and Thursday show.
So no guy learn to come have no best behavior.
Why is the person who always on the verge of misbehaving always be the one to be reminding without calling somebody who is wearing a black and yellow top? Why is that person always
And why is that?
about behavior? Max, is not your yellow. Yours is more on the mustard side.
Charmeuse.
Yeah.
She's more on the Charmeuse side.
The chiffon yellow.
Who no guy learn to behave on the
Yellow.
come to the show and leave on the misbehave on the yard.
Are we on?
They hear you. They hear you on the midweek show, so I don't know.
Well, guess what?
But thanks to Julia and
Yeah.
and January and the team, they said they want to carry this show for Saturday morning on their platform.
Oh,
Jamaica's
nice.
in Jamaica
Nice.
will hear you.
We are step up in that things.
So we want to say big up to Fit FM 96.7
Live. So when does that begin?
next Saturday.
Okay.
Jackie,
So
And I'm telling
then I'm going to be on TV in Jamaica.
Well, bearing in mind this is radio broadcast for them. So that's all right. Just start putting out your promos and they'll get to know what you look like.
oh my
So
Jesus.
you can direct them to your social media platforms and
Yeah, go
things.
get my
Pages,
treat.
yes.
We want to thank them so much for saying, hey, they want to do this, and that's good. And we'll take the blessing as it
Jackie, great job,
Absolutely.
Jackie. Great job. You raise a son that can have a conversation.
Yes, an
People don't
intelligent
have a
one.
conversation, but
Very
trust
smart,
me,
very intelligent.
great
Yes.
job, Jackie. Great job. If we went so old, we give you one next one. I pick up one summer can give you if you raise again, but you're too old.
I wanted one. I wanted to adopt a child.
Not too late. You're still young. You can't do that. Great job.
Anyway.
Great job, Jackie.
Yes.
You're so
Me graduate
young, man.
a Congo no. Me go eat me American. Me go round so.
Wanna hear it now? Here and there.
So blessings,
I mean,
everybody.
Quan.
Thanks to all for
Make a make
tuning in,
pudding for somebody here now.
to the crew here. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Always
right.
a
Okay.
pleasure.
Blessings
And love.
We
Ciao,
are
ciao.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's
Patrick
Day.
Tyson
Wow.
from the Gospel Showcase Radio NYC presents his 35-year anniversary radio gospel concert on Saturday, August 15th, 2026, featuring Pastor Golda McFarlane, Brother Paul Marlon Anderson, Sister Tanique Granston, Shakira Williams, Minister Barrington Reed, and Minister Gart Wilson outside of Maryland, to be held at the Bronxwood International Church of God, located at 3232 Lurton Avenue in the Bronx. Live music by Pete and Drummer Squad. Tickets are pre-sold at $35, $40 out the door. Children under 12, $25. Your MCs for the evening will be yours truly, Minister Patrick Tyson and Lady D. Doors open at 5 p.m. showtime, 6 p.m. sharp. This event is made possible and sponsored by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, Bronxwood International Church of God, TOG Radio, Unity with Love Radio, Favor Zone Radio, CJ Gospel Radio. and Future FM Radio. For tickets and more information, you can contact Minister Tyson at 347-961-6785 or Sister Lemuel Hunt at 646-702-8140. Once again, that's 646-702-8140. And ladies and gentlemen, please come out and celebrate with me as I celebrate 35 years of radio ministry in the New York area. You can't afford to miss it. Saturday, August 15th will come alive. I'll see you there.
Ghana, vibrant, full of promise. But for many teens, opportunity is still out of reach. Thousands walk miles just to attend school, and when the journey is too far, education stops. That's why Eagles Wing Community Outreach, in collaboration with Central Yonkers Church of God, is building the Agape Vocational Training Center, bringing education closer and opening doors for over 100,000 young people. Led by Bishop and Reverend Dr. Stevenson, this mission is about changing lives for generations, and you can be a part of it. Join us for the 3rd annual Ghana Missions Boat Ride fundraiser on June 7th at 5:30 p.m. aboard the Skyline Princess, sailing from World's Fair Marina, Flushing, New York. Come dressed in your finest African attire. Enjoy music by Jabez and DJ Apache. Tickets are $150. Call 914-620-5070 or scan the QR code to purchase. Be the reason a child rises. Help build the Agape Vocational Training Center. Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Saturday Morning Runnings. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women, Sherns, Max, Jackie, and yours truly, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of the roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. it's Saturday Morning Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Saturday Morning Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive. Welcome to Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. I'm your host, Lady D Denise Gomez Green, inviting you to join me each week for real conversations, powerful stories, and uplifting perspectives that shine a light on voices from the community and the diaspora. Kick off your week with the Monday Drive from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Dive deep on Thursdays with Center Stage from 6 to 8 p.m. And ease into your weekend with Saturday Morning Runnings every Saturday at 10 a.m. Catch Voices with Lady D on YouTube, Caribbean Vibes Radio Network online and YouTube, and Fit FM 96.7 in Stuart Castle, Trelawney, Jamaica, or tune in on Linkage Radio online. So lock in, turn it up, and remember, every voice has power. This is Voices with Lady D.